Hello everyone, it's Mandy again. Now this week's story is actually from the New Testament, but it's after Jesus had died and gone to heaven. Easter had passed. Jesus had gone back to heaven. He left behind him his faithful followers. They had to carry on the good work that he had begun. One day, Peter and John went walking together. They came to the temple of Jerusalem. At the entrance of the temple, there stood a gate. It was so grand that it was known everywhere as the Beautiful Gate. At the side of the gate, there sat a beggar. Here they are going for a walk, and here's the beggar sitting at the side of the gate. The beggar was lame. That meant he couldn't walk. He had never walked in his life. And every day he was carried to the Beautiful Gate by his friends. As Peter and John passed him by, he called out to them. "Oh, please give me something," he cried. Peter and John stopped. Peter spoke. "Look at us," he said. The beggar looked up into the kind faces of the two men. He held out his bowl. He hoped they would put some money in it. It was easy for Peter to understand what the man was thinking. Here they are, and he's calling out to them. And over here he is putting out his bowl. Oh, he wants something in his bowl. Peter shook his head. "No," he said, "I've got no money to give you. Instead, I will give you something else." The lame man shrugged his shoulders. He needed money. Peter smiled. He reached down and he took the beggar's hand. "In the name of Jesus, stand up and walk," Peter said quietly. Suddenly, there was a strange feeling in the lame beggar's legs. They became strong. He couldn't believe what was happening. Peter pulled his hand. "Stand up," he said. The beggar moved his legs. Then slowly, but without help, he got to his feet. I can stand! I can stand!" he shouted with joy. He was so happy. Here he is, look, he's holding his sticks. He's not walking with them, he's holding them. And he looks happy. "Now walk," said Peter. The beggar moved one foot forward. Carefully he took his weight from that foot. He moved the other foot forward. Then he took several steps. He could walk. He who had never walked could now walk. "God be praised," cried the beggar. "I can walk." Peter and John smiled at each other as the beggar ran off, shouting at the top of his voice. A crowd of people began to gather. "Another miracle," said one of them. "Nonsense," said another. He looked at Peter. "How did you make that lame man walk?" he asked. "By the power of Jesus," said Peter. At once, the crowd began to talk among themselves. "Those two are the friends of that man Jesus," they said. The man who had spoken to Peter hurried to tell the priests in the temple what had happened. "And the man who helped the lame beggar walk were friends of Jesus," he gasped. The priests had been the enemies of Jesus. "This isn't good news," said one. "When Jesus died, we thought that would be the end of him. Now here are his friends stirring up trouble for us. We must stop them." And here he is, the chief priest. He's saying, we've got to stop those two men. Oh dear me, I wonder what they'll do. "How are we to do that?" asked another priest. "Put them in prison," replied the chief priest. "It's the only way." So they imprisoned Peter and John. Soldiers found them and took them to prison. Meanwhile, word of their capture spread quickly. Many people still remembered Jesus and how he had helped them. They didn't like to think that two of his friends were in prison. And there they are in prison, look, over here. They're in prison. It's not good, is it? The next morning, Peter and John looked through the bars of their cell. Outside, a great crowd had gathered. The people were angry. "Release Peter and John," they shouted. The priests were scared. "The people will attack us if we don't release Peter and John." The chief priest sent for all the powerful enemies of Jesus. They were the men who had sent Jesus to the cross. They wanted to speak with Peter and John. And they asked them, "Where did you get the power to cure a lame beggar?" "By the power of Jesus," said Peter. The priest frowned, but Peter stood before them bravely. He'd not always been quite so brave. Later, Peter had been asked if he was a friend of Jesus when Jesus was arrested, and 3 times Peter had said no. Later, he had been ashamed. Now he was brave and proud to be known as a friend of Jesus. "Only by the power of Jesus could the lame beggar be cured," Peter said again. "Only by his power can we all be saved." The crowd was shouting louder than ever. The chief priest thought for a while and thought, what am I going to do? Got all that crowd out there. It's not good. It's not looking good. There was only one thing he could do. "I will set you both free," he said. "But you will stop speaking about Jesus. If you don't, you will both be punished." So Peter and John were set free. But they never stopped speaking about Jesus. And here he is, he's the chief priest, and he's thinking to himself, what am I going to do? And here they are, and they're free. That was a great story, wasn't it? All about the power of Jesus after he died. Going to sing another song now. I'm not sure if it's a new one or not. I hope you enjoy it. Bye.
Loosen yourself up again like we did last time. Loosen all those hands. Loosen yourself up. Do a bit of jumping in the air while you're waiting. Okay, just get yourselves ready. Here we go. Okay. Hands, hands, fingers, thumbs. Here we go. Hands, hands, fingers, thumbs. We can live to praise you. Hands, hands, fingers, thumbs. We can live to praise. Hands, hands, fingers, thumbs. We can live to praise you. Jump forward, jump back. Yeah, we were made to praise. We'll do that again. Hands, hands, fingers, thumbs. We can live to praise you. Hands, hands, fingers, thumbs. We can live to praise. Hands, hands, fingers, thumbs. We can live to praise you. Jump forward, jump back. Yeah, we were made to praise. We've got some hands. We've got some hands that we can raise. We've got a voice to shout your praise. Jesus! Got some feet that make you dance. Let's use them now. We've got the chance. We've got some hands that we can raise. We've got a voice to shout your praise. Jesus! Got some feet that make you dance. Let's use them now. We've got the chance. Hands, hands, fingers, thumbs. We can live to praise you. Hands, hands, fingers, thumbs. We can live to praise. Hands, hands, fingers, Excellent. Have a great week, and we're going to give you another song with actions pretty soon.